Hey everybody, Jason and John here for Everyday Crypto, sponsored by CryptoTaxShield.com. Jason, it's been a few days, a handful of days. Thanks for sitting down with me. Lots going on in the world. I wanted to get you on a call.
Yeah, John, thanks for having me. As always, I appreciate it.
You bet. So, crypto's pretty quiet right now. So I'm kind of digging. Lately you and I get on these little episodes. We kind of start talking about geopolitical sort of financial stuff. I want to go back there again because I know yesterday the new CPI came out, and I kind of want to start you there. And then I got a few questions I think will kind of tickle your fancy as we go.
Yeah, and if I could, please, if you find any entertainment or educational value in this at all, please like and subscribe. It helps us help you, and we are not financial advisors. Do your own research.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the consumer price index came out, was it yesterday, and it was, as expected, higher than expected.
Right.
Which lets you know that I believe it's on the 26th when the Feds meet up to let us know how much they're going to increase interest rates.
Right.
Money on the streets prior to the CPI would have said 75 basis points, possibly 50 basis points. Now it's the other way around. Now it's almost 50-50 that people think it's going to go 75 basis points or a full percentage.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
Just to give people a little idea, I can't remember the last time we went a whole percentage rate. I think you have to go back 50 years to find 75 basis points, but 100 basis points, I don't know how far back you have to go to find that. That's how dramatic inflation is out of control. They have been increasing interest rates for the past 6 months now, 7 months now,
right,
and they have not even put a dent in it. But yet, on the course of trying to slow it down, they've demolished the stock market, crushed crypto markets, and they're about to absolutely crush the housing markets.
Right. Great. Yeah. And I know we talked about this last time. I got family members were trying to get into a new house, and it's frustrating enough to do that, but then to watch sort of what's going on in the industry as you're trying to do that, right, it makes you want to start swinging, So
better lock that rate in.
Yeah, for sure. And that's sage advice that I will for sure take. So what else is going on in the world right now? There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. There are a lot of red flags or canaries in the coal mines right now.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka, huge red flag. They're completely bankrupt. The banks are shut down. The schools are shut down. The government shut down. There's no police. There's no anything.
Crazy.
And the poor are absolutely storming the rich neighborhoods. They're storming the capital. They're doing anything they can to survive at this point.
Right.
And historically, in these types of situations, a bigger country would step in and help out with some sort of hidden agenda.
Right.
But in these times, there's no one stepping in. That's a canary in the coal mine, right? So Sri Lanka's a relatively, you think of it as a small country, but their gross domestic product is actually pretty mid-sized.
Right.
And it wasn't just a couple of years ago. I remember the Economic Forum saying that Sri Lanka was going to have such a strong economy and they were going to do all these things. You got that going on. That's a red flag. You got the banks in China, which we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now on this channel. It's gotten worse. Lots of their banks, you can't pull the money out. So citizens started rioting or protesting, and the government in China, like they often do, fought back.
Right.
That's a huge red flag. I mean, China's the second biggest world power right now.
Right.
You've got the Japanese yen absolutely in free fall.
Jeez.
That's a huge red flag because they've been in quantitative easing for longer than any other country out there. They've actually set the roadmap for how all this plays out for what America and other countries are going through right now.
Right.
They've got no options left. They've refused to increase interest rates because they can't.
Sure.
And if you can't increase interest rates, that means inflation is going to run rampant, which devalues your currency. Mm-hmm. And that's a red flag. You got Europe. The euro, for the first time in 20 years, is at the same valuation as the dollar.
Right.
So the euro's in free fall.
Mm-hmm.
These are all major red flags, and I think something has to break before any of this gets better. I don't know if it's like think about Europe's situation. Their euros in free fall. They have out of control inflation.
Right.
and they're staring down the barrel of a gun with Russia holding the bullet with their natural gas and oil.
Right.
So Russia just shut down their pipeline that goes into Europe for natural gas, and they say it's for maintenance. But you could see where someone like Putin would hold this as a leverage play.
For sure.
And side note on Putin, just was it a couple of days ago? Most people I never saw this.
Yeah,
it wasn't main news at all. But he went on Russian TV and had a whole speech, and his speech was aimed right at America.
Wow.
He was saying that your time as the world police and your time as the strongest currency is coming to an end. Mm-hmm. He emphasized the point that we emphasized on this show before, that when you played financial warfare with us, you've lost trust with the rest of the world.
Right.
And you don't have to like Putin to agree with him on this. So he is right about that.
Yeah.
So these are all monster red flags that lets you know that there's more destruction ahead. These are not small problems that are easily fixed.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's and I'm being facetious here, but this all sounds like if you lined up all these things going on and put them on like a tape, this is what you see at the beginning of every zombie movie, right? This is the collapse of these countries, and then it's a sort of a post-apocalyptic world. It is scary, and to a certain extent, it's very unnecessary. It's a lot of people playing a lot of games and using a lot of leverage incorrectly, and then it just blows up in their faces.
This has been a 50-year chess game, and now checkmate is 2 moves away.
Right.
It really is. I don't know what happens from here. I really don't. There's one good thing about this whole thing is the dollar is getting stronger, because when you measure the dollar, you measure it against all other currencies. You don't measure it against gold or like Bitcoin or anything like that. And the dollar's gained a lot of strength over the last 12 months. That's why it's passing the euro. And there's consequences to that too, though. So America we're consumers. Yep. We import everything.
Yep.
So that's really good for us. That means the dollar is stronger in China where we're buying products.
Right.
So that could help us out with inflation. But on the other hand, for tourism, it's horrible for American tourism because wherever country you're coming from, your currency is valued less.
Right.
Or if you're an exporter of American products to another country, it's going to cost that country more to buy your products. So they could shop elsewhere.
Sure.
There's so many moving pieces to this game, and it's impressive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's and not always the best way. Where does crypto fall in all this? Like, is it? I mean, I know it's quiet. I know people call it the crypto winter, I guess, going on right now. Do you see crypto having any sort of play in terms of saving the day in some of these scenarios?
John, that's a great question. Crypto is holding up impressively strong. So Bitcoin right now is at about 20,500.
Right.
And that's a day after they just released a higher CPI rate than we expected, which is really bad news because it lets you know that interest rate hikes are going to be higher than expected.
Yeah.
You would assume the day after that crypto would fall, and it didn't. And I'll be honest with you, the fact that Bitcoin has held its ground at 20,000 for so long under nonstop bad news.
Right.
Like exchanges going insolvent. You got Terra Luna dumping $30 billion worth of Bitcoin on the open market. You've got out of control inflation. You've got uncertain times. And it's holding strong. That lets me know that the big money, the institutions, the corporations, the nation states, that they are buying up every time it goes below $20,000, which lets you know that there is confidence in that.
Okay, good.
And in the long term, to answer your second part of that question, Bitcoin is made for the answer to all these problems. Inflation, monetary policies out of control, which you're seeing globally. Like in Sri Lanka, that was out of control monetary policies.
Sure.
But right now, I just don't think not too many people understand that.
Right.
Right. But I think there will come a time a couple of years from now where people understand that, oh yeah, that's why you want to own that specific asset.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think in the next, bear market, whenever it comes around, that people will realize that Bitcoin is a good investment during risk off times. Like right now, it's like extremely risk off time. Like investors are not investing in anything.
Right.
And they'll run to that as a safe haven. Like right now, you've got no safe haven.
Right.
Bonds, horrible. Stock market, horrible. Crypto, horrible. Housing is about to get really bad.
Yep.
The dollar's pretty much the closest safe haven, but it's melting at what they're claiming is, 10%, but really it's much higher.
Sure.
They tweak those numbers so much. So I think everything's just great. I think this whole situation, when we look back on it in hindsight, will be the awakening of what gives Bitcoin value. Yeah.
No, and you've mentioned this before, and I'll reiterate, times like this is, if you're smart, you're looking for opportunity, because there always is, right? There's people write books. I mean, I can't name any off the top of my head, but I've read some where they talk about when things are bad, they built wealth during those times if you learn the strategies to do so. So there's always opportunity. Yeah.
The worse it gets, the better the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always, we talked a little bit before we started the show about how it sort of seems like they're trying to do some of this stuff and break this thing on purpose, which is very frustrating to folks like us who are just sort of trying to make our way, But yeah, we'll see. I think you're right, though. I think there's some optimism on the horizon. One last question, and this is just sort of off, maybe a little off topic. We have an election coming up in November. The current administration just announced the other day they're going to raise, or they're going to attempt to raise, taxes on small, pass-through businesses 11 to 14%. So I'm just wondering, in your personal opinion, if there's a switch of power in November, do you see that helping or hurting, or nothing really?
I've given this a lot of thought. I really have.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to guess, I would say that they're trying to break this thing as fast as possible, and then right before elections, have the Fed say, "Okay, we're going to stop increasing interest rates," which would bring investors back into the markets, which would pump all the markets back up.
Sure.
And then they would point to, see, the Democrats would say, see, we fixed it. See.
Right.
But with that being said, if they fail at that, and we are in the worst situation that we are now when it comes to election time,
right,
you can guarantee that the Republicans will own the Senate, the House, and then the next presidential election, you'll have another Trump-like guy sitting in there.
No doubt. Yeah. No, that's interesting. I was curious what your thoughts were on that, because I tend to fall in that same camp. Just what I know about the parties and stuff. So yeah, but that seems to be a page from their playbook, which is create a problem, then right before elections solve the problem, and then essentially buy votes. So we'll see if it plays out that way.
I'm not. I'm never political.
Yeah, I'm not either. Really,
I think both sides are a joke. But
you go high enough, there's no difference, really. I mean, yeah.
But if I was in the Democratic Party right now, I would be sweating bullets, because if this all goes wrong, like, how often do you ever have like a pure Republican or a pure Democratic House, Senate, presidency, right? Like, it never happens, right?
Yeah.
If you were to get that, and I'm not pro or against Trump. I'm indifferent. I'm really indifferent. Let's just say things go bad, elections come around, and then Trump runs again.
Yep.
He will have a Republican House, Republican Senate, and he'll have full control. And it'll be what it'll be, good or bad or indifferent. That's what it'll be.
Yeah, I can't remember when Trump got in first time. I can't remember if he held both chambers, but I know Obama did. When Obama got elected, he had it was straight Democrat across the board, but a lot of the folks in his own party didn't like him, so nothing got done for those first 2 years. So that's a hurdle too. If half your party doesn't like you, they tend to obstruct what you're trying to get done. So it's just it's weird, man. It's just a weird system. So. But Jason, I really do appreciate you taking some time. There are lots going on in the world, and we'll do another one of these soon. There'll be plenty of questions coming in, I'm sure.
John, as always, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Talk soon.
You got it.
All right. Thanks.